Content warning. Tone Deaf is rated explicit for mature content and strong language. Spoilers are in every episode, so if you haven't seen the shows we are reviewing, you can always check back in later with us. We'll be here when you get back.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren, I'm musically challenged. Come on, Kay, we're excited about our podcast. You gotta have more upbeat energy. Get the audience excited for today's episode. What's today's episode again?
Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse.
Actually, I do have a way that we can lift up the mood.
We don't have any cocaine.
Other than cocaine. We got a review. We got a review from Ned Donovan, and so I'm gonna sing it.
Yay!
I'm a huge musical theater fan, and I recently found myself less connected to the art form, and a tone deaf, which gives me a wonderful POV look at one of my favorite things through the eyes of joyful, humorous, lovely people. Every episode puts a smile on my face, and I highly recommend you let it do the same to you. Wow!
Did he include the song that you should sing to?
No.
Okay, you're just going
off
with
the dome.
Just going with it. Cool.
Just going with it.
Because I was sitting here going, that sounds familiar. That tune sounds familiar, and I don't know if Kay is referencing something because musically challenged, so I wouldn't know.
Kay just overheated themselves doing it and is refusing to take off the heating pad, so the hoodie came off instead.
Right, priorities.
Priorities. I'm a lizard. Gotta have heat.
It's true. I've seen your tail. And your cloaca.
Anyway, today we're doing one that was requested from Courtland from Up All Night. It's one that I've probably seen, but it was only once, only when it came out, and probably under duress at daycare.
We all have memories like that. Oh God, what was it? It was the that horrible one with the terrible animation, the Christmas tree one.
Yeah,
What's
the
that
Christmas tree.
Oh, just called.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing that and then having flashbacks to watching it at daycare when I was a wee little lad.
Did you ever see The Great Bear Scare?
Not that I can recall.
It's weird, and I don't know, it's one that should have set off my misophonia, but somehow didn't, because later, rewatching it, I was like, oh, I should have hated this as a child. But, anyway, that's not what we're covering today. Today we're covering the Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas, and this was hell to research.
Poky Little Puppy's First and Last Christmas.
I'm gonna get to that. So, this is somewhat based on a children's book from 1942 called The Poky Little Puppy.
Oh, and thank you, Ned, for your review. I was too busy trying to determine what tune Kay was singing the review to, and I didn't thank you. So thank you very much for your nice review. Squirrel brain.
It's okay.
Very smooth squirrel brain. Please continue, Kay.
You're fine. So, you don't remember Poky Little Puppy, right?
Maybe when we watch this, I'll have some neurons.
Okay. Yeah, maybe when we watch it. I won't show you a picture. But the book was written by Janet Sebring Lowry and illustrated by Gustav Tengren. In 2001, Poky Little Puppy became the all-time best-selling hardcover children's book in the U.S., after already having been one of the first Little Golden books to be published. Do you remember Little Golden books?
No. The only
Tawny Scrawny Lion.
No, the only thing when you said golden books, it made me think of a Newbery Award, a Newbery Medal.
Oh yeah, no, not
different
like
thing.
these.
And now that you're saying the time that it happened, I would have been probably too old to have given a crap about it.
So the thing with these so in 2001 it was the best all-time bestseller.
That would
But
have been like 14, I think. So I
but
probably
you
wouldn't
would have
cared.
read it before that because this had been released in 1942.
Oh!
So by the time that 2001
Fuck me.
hit, then it was the all-time bestseller.
Better late than never, I guess. Slow burn.
You may
Long con?
recognize it once you get there because the little golden books, they were the hardcover books that were like cardboard covers, and you'd have this gold trim on the side. And they would do a lot of Disney adaptations. They would do
Was there like gold trim on the pages?
just on the side of the cover.
I don't know. I would have to see it to actually have any memories, I guess.
Okay, because I would be very surprised if you have never seen one of these books. So, like this.
I don't think so.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't think so. If I did see it, the art style terrified me, and I didn't want to read it.
Okay. Because that was the first of those books. You also had Tawny Scrawny Lion. There was like a little tugboat one. There were a bunch of little golden books, and then
In 2001, I was definitely tugging something.
oh my god, Warren. But like the little golden books were kind of a staple in daycare. And let's see, what else was I gonna say? So this was one of the first little golden books to be published, and there is not much about Jeanette Lowry that I could find.
Maybe they're not a real person.
She was, because
Maybe they're just a dream in our imaginations. Maybe we're a dream in their imaginations. Maybe we're a kid's children's book. Oh god, that'd be horrifying. Mom, this book says fuck a lot.
oh lord. So with Jeanette Lowry, I was at first gonna try to go a James Petrogallo route and make up a whole backstory for her, but then I went, no, I don't care about her whole thing enough to try and make something up. Plus, I did find some other fun stuff to fill time until we get to the point where we have to watch the movie, aka stalling tactics. So, when I say...
Oh, honey, quit stalling.
Jesus Christ. So, when I say that this is somewhat based on Poky Little Puppy, I mean that there are other Poky Little Puppy books that were not written by Jeanette. It seems that the Golden Books had other authors write Poky Little Puppy books after the success of the first one.
Bunch of pokey little phonies, if you ask me.
God damn. And I'm not sure which version of Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas this is based on. Because I'm pretty sure it has to be the 1975 edition. And I say that because there are multiple Poky Little Puppy's First Christmases because Golden Books. The ones that I could find were, like, and verify that these were real, were 1975, 1993, 2002, and 2014, and they are all apparently different fucking books according to some angry Amazon reviews.
But they're all titled the same thing?
They are all titled Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas. In fact, I have a list of Poky Little Puppy books. I'm going to read them now.
I am on the edge of my seat with anticipation.
First, The Poky Little Puppy. The Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas. The Poky Little Puppy's Wonderful Winter Day. The Poky Little Puppy and the Patchwork Blanket. The Poky Little Puppy's Valentine. Where is the Poky Little Puppy? The Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas. Again. The Poky Little Puppy's Counting Book. The Poky Little Puppy in the Farm Upstate. The Poky Little Puppy and Friends. The Poky Little Puppy and the First Dog. The Poky Little Puppy in the Pumpkin Patch. The Poky Little Puppy's Special Day. The Poky Little Puppy and the Silly Tasting Leaves. The Poky Little Puppy follows his nose home.
The Poky Little Puppy and the Funny Tasting Leaves is when he gets into a pot bush or something like that.
The Poky Little Puppy's Busy Counting Book. The Poky Little Puppy Tales. The Poky Little Puppy at the Fair. The Poky Little Puppy wins the green ribbon. The Poky Little Puppy's Book of Colors. The Poky Little Puppy comes to Sesame Street. The Poky Little Puppy's Naughty Day. The Poky Little Puppy goes to the vet. The Poky Little Puppy's Special Spring Day. The Poky Little Puppy and the Tasty Sock. Poky Little Puppy's Friends. Poky Little Puppy and the Lost Bone. Poky and Friends, Lucky Ducky.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Poky and Friends, The Truth About Kittens and Puppies. And Poky Little Puppy, only a couple of these were jokes. The last one was not.
Some of those were jokes. And I don't know which ones.
And after reading through, I forget which ones are the jokes.
Oh, God.
Because I only put in like 3.
The very last one in the series, Poky Little Puppy finally gets put down.
Oh, that was Poky Little Puppy in the Farm Upstate.
Very nice.
But Poky Little Puppy, Poky and Friends, The Truth About Cats or Kittens and Puppies is an actual book title.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, Poky Little Puppy was Golden Book's whore. Speaking of whoring, this Christmas special. So...
I thought you were going to talk about my college days. I mean, I never graduated because I found my true calling, but...
Whoring to me. It was like in Pretty Woman. I sat there with a box.
And snapped my fingers?
With an Xbox controller and just snap.
That's how I knew she was the one.
So, I could not find much about this Christmas special, other than it was released in 1992, and it was apparently nominated for a Cable Ace Award in 1994, so big shrug, big fucking shrug. The IMDb page is so sparse.
Really?
Yes. It has the award, it has the date, it has a little bit on who, was responsible for it, and it has the cast list. And the cast list was where I was like, what the fuck? Because there are some folks who surprised me for being in this. One of the folks, Heidi Stallings, did a lot of direct-to-video shorts, so it's like, okay, that's fine. But then I see that Donald... I'm the bad guy in the Hunger Games movies, and also Kiefer Sutherland's dad, Sutherland, is the fucking narrator. So Donald Sutherland, the bad guy from the Hunger Games, he's in this. He's the narrator in this. And I'm like, did you need a paycheck?
Probably. He's got that old grandfatherly...
But this was before he was old grandfatherly.
No, but even when he was a kid, he had that old grandfatherly voice. That's just how he got his start, you know. He was probably doing the school news and announcing on the intercom, and, hello, students, today's lunch special is mashed potatoes and meatloaf, and Poky Little Puppy is a dirty, dirty whore.
Hello, students. Today, there was an accident on the way to school involving the school bus and a singing group that was on their way to their first concert. The school bus survived. No fatalities on the school bus, but the singing group unfortunately met their demise. You haven't seen Forever Plaid yet, so never mind.
Was the singing group a little flat? But
Holy fuck. That's gonna be real fun when we do Forever Plaid. So, other actors in this either have this as their only role, or they didn't do much after this.
Tainted their experience.
However, there are some that are exceptions. One of them is Andrew Leeds, who has a pretty prolific TV career, and he's actually the son of the drama teacher that Henry Winkler plays in Barry. from season 2.
He's barely in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I think I have a mental picture.
So, one actor, Travis DeLingua, is in a short called Whitewash, which I'm amazed I didn't ever see, or if I did, I blocked it out because it was too painful. It's a cartoon by Entozaki Shange, who we're going to cover when we do for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. And it's, like, painful as fuck.
Yay.
So, well, for colored girls is... I'm more talking about Whitewash. I was seeing just bits of it going, oh, fuck. If I did see this as a kid, I've blocked it out because, like, there's one point where a little black girl gets bullied and called racial slurs and then has white paint thrown on her face, and because it was a kids movie that talked about the brutality of racism and how to deal with it and stuff,
and then I enter in through the picture and pick up said paint cans and beat those little kids to death with them.
Beat the racist kids to death.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's yeah.
I just felt my blood pressure spike.
I'm sorry, babe. Well, this is a great upbeat note to end my notes on because this is honestly all I have for this show.
Yay!
I dug so much and I couldn't find much. And with what Courtland was telling me with the lyrics, I'm really fucking scared.
Oh.
The version that we're watching is a VHS rip, so
it'll be extra good quality.
Extra good quality. Because, I don't think that Golden Books VHS is wanting to...
Nobody's going to bother remastering this for DVD release.
Probably not.
So it's not going to get a 4K re-release on widescreen format?
If it gets a 4K re-release in widescreen format, but we don't have, like, other classic cartoons that are probably better getting a re-release on a classic or on a 4K format, blah blah blah, my brain is tired, then I'll eat my hat.
You're not wearing a hat.
I'll find a hat, I'll put it on, then I'll take it off and I'll eat it.
Your hoodie has a hood. Maybe you could eat the hood.
If I eat just the hood, then that negates it being a hoodie. I'd have to eat the whole hoodie, and I like this hoodie.
Okay, we'll find you a hat
It's
to eat.
purple.
Okay, we'll find you a hat to eat.
Not purple.
In this hypothetical scenario, should you have to eat a hat, we will find you a hat to eat.
Can't be purple.
Okay.
Can't eat a purple hat.
We'll make sure it's white.
I learned that purple hats don't taste like tasty grape-flavored Jolly Ranchers like I thought they did when I was a child. This joke is getting away from me.
There it goes.
Anyway, are you ready to go see Poky Little Puppy and the Whoring of Christmas? Poky Little Puppy's totally, this is his really first Christmas. He's not going to have multiple first Christmases after this, I promise.
Maybe what it is that he has multiple first Christmases because they're each so traumatic that he represses the memories, and so each Christmas is a brand new Christmas to him.
Or it's not the same Poky Little Puppy.
Or it's not the same
It's
Poky
like
Little
whenever...
Puppy. There is enough time in between each of these books that dog is damn dead.
Well, it's like whenever parents try to replace the goldfish with a goldfish that looks like it, and then they run out of goldfish with that same color of fin at the store.
So
you have to be like, oh, it had a color change.
Two points. One, that shit would never have worked with you because you know way too much. Even at a young age, you would have read way too much about fish and known way too much that you'd have been like, this is not the same fish. He's got different this and this and this and that. And two, do you remember the episode of Full House where they teach Michelle about death because her fish dies, and then they get a new fish, and then they talk about what happens when this fish dies, and then they open up a cupboard, and it's like row upon row of different goldfish in bowls, and they're just like, when this fish dies, we'll just replace it with one of these ones.
If I saw it, I probably had a rage blackout.
I remember being a little kid going, now that's a fucking stupid idea, because all of these fish are going to age together, and then you're just going to end up with a bunch of dead fish in the
All of these
cupboard.
fish are in shitty living conditions. Don't put goldfish in bowls. They're fucking carp. Ladies and gentlemen.
I got Kay on a fish rant.
Guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Our dear, dear sweet listeners, don't put goldfish in bowls. They need a lot of space. Goldfish get fucking huge. I had a goldfish that grew to be 13 inches long. The only reason that she didn't live was an accident with a filter.
That's the only thing in Kay's life that grows to be 13 inches long.
Jesus Christ. Don't put goldfish in bowls. This is an official statement from the Tone Deaf podcast. Where was I? Oh, that's right. Watching this terrible, terrible Christmas movie. Fuck, I'm so scared.
Do we know how long it is?
25 minutes, thank Christ.
That's it?
Yes.
Oh, let's go knock this bad boy out then.
It might be 25 minutes of hell, but...
And the 25 minutes went on and on and on. Winter turned to spring, spring turned to summer, summer came to fall, and back around to winter again. Before the Poky little
Seasons
puppy.
change, time passes by. Become the weeks, become the months, become the years.
Let's go do this. Let's do the... Come on, Kay, let's get excited. Woo! Poky little puppy! Woo! Yeah! Woo! That looks about on par with the whale noise, just not as drawn out.
Fuck. This is gonna be horrible.
You're welcome, Kay.
Let's go. Woo! Hey, Warren.
Hey, Kay.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it time to thank our favorite people in the whole world?
Heck yeah! Today, we would like to thank our stage crew sponsor, Jasmine Wu.
And our producer circle sponsors, Bianucci, Reagan, and Taylor Brandt.
Thank you all so much for your support of our show.
We truly appreciate it.
Many hundreds of years ago, in the faraway land of the North, there dwelt a special kind of magic. The magic of imagination. And nowhere did this light shine brighter than in the heart of a kindly toy maker named Nicholas Kringle. The toy maker loved children, most of all his own son, whom he named Chris. But the land was ruled by a wicked snow queen.
You cannot escape from me, Toymaker's son.
I assure you, young Master Kringles, we elves are very real, and we shall teach you to make toys which will bring happiness to children all over the world.
Young Santa Claus and the Winter Solstice. Written and directed by Patrick and Paul Gibbs.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Up All Night, an Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast. We're your hosts. My name's Courtland.
And I'm Brandon.
And in our podcast, we take apart each episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, scene by scene, and discuss it in detail. This show is prime early 90s Canadian acting at its best. Or, in some cases, worst. We're here to laugh our way through 7 seasons and 91 episodes. So whether you're a fan of the show...
Think.
That's hard dough. No, mister. Accent on the dough.
Hi, Andy. Won't you come play with me?
Hey, we're just having a goof.
Or experiencing it for the first time.
We know there's nothing better than staying up all night with a scary story.
And now, the lights are going down and the music's starting back up, so let's head back to the second act of our show. Well, what'd you think?
It was blissfully short.
Thank fucking Christ.
And I never thought I would miss the musical numbers from The Land Before Time.
Right? That was fucking... Land Before Time is Sondheim compared to this.
Uh-huh. I I
will even say that the second Land Before Time movie, and even the worst of the Land Before Time movies, story-wise, better than this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This isn't harmful.
No.
But
it is incredibly benign as far as mediocrity is benign.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they took any liberties from the original children's story or not. Because this one was a book before it was a cartoon, right?
I think so.
You think so? Because it's so dumb in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's it's one of those things. I feel like this wasn't even a first draft. I feel like this was winging it in a lot of ways, because so much, like, the music and the lyrics for all the songs. I mean, granted, there's one that's living rent free in our heads.
Yes.
Well, two. But
two living rent free. But
the other one is living rent free in our heads just because you lost your shit with it.
It was accidentally clever.
It was accidentally clever only because of our own personal experience with our dog.
Yes.
And you were like, oh my God, this is our dog, when we tell her she can't bring something nasty inside. And that, to me, was the best part of it. You losing your shit over that. This is the kind of thing that I'm like, you could plop a 2-year-old down in front of it, and they wouldn't learn anything negative. They wouldn't learn anything necessarily positive, because the quote-unquote morals that it tries to provide are so saran wrap thin.
It's one of those things where, like, you know me. I love animation, and I love watching children's animation, because some of it can be brilliant, and I love when they don't talk down to kids. This talks down so bad.
It does.
It
is so condescending in the way it handles the subject.
And when we get to it, there's some things that, if it weren't for the fact that everything else makes me think this was just a cash grab, this was just we're just gonna fart this out, I would think that they had done something brilliant. But I know that they didn't do anything brilliant with this, so it's completely by accident that what they do is brilliant.
You know what it reminds me of slightly is... Do you remember reading Rainbow, how when they would show the animated version of the book that LeVar Burton was reading, how it wasn't quite a cartoon, but it wasn't still images?
Yeah.
This is slightly better than that in terms of animation, but it's not at all on par with anything that came out in the 90s.
It was TV animation.
Not even that.
Like limited TV animation. It was Nick Jr.
Maybe. I feel like this is a like local access quality. Like some four people.
I can see that.
4 people working in a basement for their very first animation project. Happened to get...
We have seen something where someone worked on it in their own house, and it was better animated than this, even though it was garbage.
More recent, and they were a former Disney animator, so they had professional experience.
Fair.
So
these people probably did too. I mean, it was a company that put this...
I'm sure it was outsourced to
Did
somewhere.
you ever watch Random House videos that would have, like, Richard Scarry and... there were a couple of different ones that were limited animation.
Doesn't ring a bell.
They at least taught you something. I would put this below Great Bear Scare, which you also haven't seen. Because at least Great Bear Scare has some interesting stuff, even though the animation's shitty. There's nothing fucking redeemable. And, like... It's one thing where if you're going to have the super limited animation, you stick to it. You don't have moments of fluidity and then janky shit.
It was really bizarre how, I hate to say seizure-esque the animation
It was though.
But yeah, it was because you would have like a couple frame, it would tick up to like 10 frames per second, and then it would drop down to like 5 frames a second, it not good. It definitely does not hold up well. Like I had said, in my opinion, PBS cartoons that were out in the 90s were better quality than that. Like, it's some of the lowest budget animation. I feel like they blew all their money on the narrator.
Yeah,
I think that's where all the money went.
Yeah,
is they were like, I know what'll
because
the
make
money
this good. The money didn't even go to the songs.
And I really didn't.
And it was when I can find it again. There is a Ugly Duckling adaptation.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know the Ugly Duckling adaptation you're talking about.
That has Charlie Adler as the voice of the duckling.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. I think they showed that in daycare when I was
That's
a kid.
at the exact same time, I'm pretty sure, as this. I
That was
fucking
better. Yeah.
loved that version. That one is one of my favorite things from growing up, just because it was so, like... I don't know. It was actually well animated. The songs were kind of thought out. It was not necessarily plop a kid in front of it. It was, hey, kid, you're gonna feel better about the fact everyone's picking on you. Watch Charlie Adler deal with childhood trauma. As a duck. Well, as a swan.
As a duck. As an ugly duck. So Kay and I are probably spending too much time punching down on this. And part of that being because this show was 25 minutes long. Actually, it wasn't even 25 minutes. It was 24 minutes and like 6 seconds.
Yes.
So this will be a short episode, despite me pausing it a ridiculous amount of time to note.
I am punching down on it because other publishing companies that would do animated adaptations at the time did better than this.
You're punching down on it because when you bend down to go, oh, aren't you a cute little, it just punches you right in the joke.
Exactly. So fuck it.
All right, Kay, shall we talk about it? I mean, more?
Let's chug-chugga-lug on.
Oh, I'm going to slap you on camera, or on mic. All right, so, as I sit here preparing to type up notes, Kay lets the dog out for a Poky potty break, and I see the thumbnail queued up on YouTube. Poky's First Christmas, it reads. A crappy-looking dog is looking at a fur-lined red boot. I see no blood on it or around the boot, but I suspect that the puppy killed the person who was previously wearing it. I suspect this supposedly child-friendly story is just a cover for what is surely to be a horrific exploration into the inner workings of a puppy on a mission to kill Santa. Only a short 24 minutes and 6 seconds separates us from the truth. What will this decades-old cartoon musical hold? What will this decades-old cartoon musical hold? Stay tuned to find out. This is your last chance to turn away if you're not prepared for the truth of Poky Little Puppy's First Christmas.
Oh, fuck. That would have been a better movie.
The journey begins, and right away we hear the telltale signs of whimsical Christmas chimes and a watermark showing the poster of this video. 3 seconds in, Kay pauses to let me know that the watermark exists to deter eBay bootleggers from ripping this YouTube copy and selling it.
Yep.
I don't know what the demand is like for this particular puppy and its winter holiday adventures, but fuck me if that isn't a horrible thing to be told 3 seconds into this video.
You know, it's for people like us that review shitty shit.
What do you mean?
Like, oh,
the watermark?
First thing I'm going to do is go to eBay and see if it's there, because I don't want to watch it on YouTube, because it may get taken down.
Well, I mean, as long as our experience has been, it only needs to be on YouTube long enough for us to watch it. Then if it gets taken down, oh well.
Fuck everybody else be watching this.
Oh.
Onward, the whimsical musical continues as the blurry credits of those responsible for this travesty are displayed. The narrator, Donald Sutherland, is heard. It's 1992, and he sounds exactly like he did in the Hunger Games movies. I turn to Kay and inquire if I remembered correctly that this was in 1992, 2.5 decades prior to the Hunger Games movies. I feel a sense of victory swell within my chest. Yes, I was correct. Donald Sutherland has always had an old grandpa voice.
Keir Delay does not... He is the same fucking age as Donald Sutherland. Different voice. Keir does not sound old. How many cigarettes has this motherfucker been smoking?
I mean, he may just have that deep, kind of gravelly tone. I mean, I will laugh, though, because he sounded bored as fuck.
Yes.
Reading this, he was
Yes,
so...
he did.
He was so just like, I am here collecting a paycheck, talking about this dog on an adventure during Christmas.
The dog does what? God damn it. How much am I getting for this?
Oh, it's not enough.
Poky little puppies, first Christmas. Fuck. I want the outtakes.
Oh, that would see.
They probably don't exist.
That would
but
be
I want
fantastic.
them.
It'd be funny is to get to talk to Donald Sutherland, just ask him, do you remember doing Poky Little Puppies First Christmas, and just watch him kind of like, if he even remembers it, or if he was just like, oh, that was when I needed cocaine money.
Maybe he has fun, like, Star Lost type stories about this.
Maybe. Who knows? He's like, I recorded it in an afternoon. I did one take for my entire lines. They wanted me to do some retakes, and I said, fuck off. No one's gonna give a shit. I am the highest paid person in this entire production. Lick my sack. All right. Onward. President Snow continues, saying, on the day before Christmas, the neighborhood sparkled with brightly lit decorations. Excitement was in the air, but the youngest members of the household knew nothing of the special events that were to take place. I'm not going to attempt to do his voice.
That's okay.
Because I can't. I would have to hit puberty a second time for my voice to hopefully be that deep. See, and that's the thing. If I live to be in my 70s, maybe I'll still sound like a 12-year-old. Like,
I'll be in 70 year olds going, ha!
See, and it's not fair, because I can do that sort of old, gravelly voice.
You've got that. You've got that more smoky, dark
I
voice.
do have a smoky, dark voice.
I'm just a little boy.
A puppy yawns and leaps to its feet, barking and telling its puppy siblings to wake the fuck up. All the puppies leap to activity, barking and playing as their food is being prepared in another room. The puppy's mother calls her pups into the kitchen, calling roll as they pass by. Our roster of little fur babies are Polly, Pat, Pickles, Penny, and Poky? Where's Poky? The other pups run into the room, but the lazy bitch Poky is still sleeping. Mother Dog, I don't know if they ever say what the mom's dog.
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
So she's just Mother Dog. Mother Dog wakes up Poky and tells them that it's time to get up. But breakfast is not on the menu for Poky, as a child in the house tells Poky to follow them outside. Mother Dog watches from the window as Poky plays in the snow-filled yard outside, jumping at rainbows that are on the ground for some reason.
Oh, because of the light reflecting off of the icicle. That is one thing that they do show.
Okay, I missed that. I just remember seeing, like, a rainbow line on the ground, and Poky is, like, going after it. I'm like, rainbows aren't on the ground. This is dumb. Turns out, I'm the one who's dumb. As many times as I pause this fucking show, I can't believe I missed that part.
Turned a 25-minute show into, what, an hour?
Probably about that, yeah. Because I knew that it was going to be short, and I was like, I gotta stretch this out. Jumping at rainbows. Da-da-da, where am I?
The shitty song, probably.
That's what I'm trying to... Yes, rainbows on the ground for some reason. Poky's burrowing in the snow and playing with a sled. The mother's song she sings while watching her pup revolves around how hits may sound Poky and her Poky little puppy. Jesus Christ, Warren.
So the song revolves around her singing about her Poky little puppy and how much Poky delights her, and that it's in the subtext that she loves this puppy more than the others, because his name's in the title. Poky, meanwhile, hungry, starving really, tries to eat a Christmas wreath and pulls it down. The child in the house says, "Oh, Poky, you dumb fuck. Don't eat decorations, eat your food." Good point, child who let the dog outside instead of into the kitchen where the dog food is waiting in the dog bowl.
Yeah, fuck that kid. Fuck all these kids in this movie. But I will say that the one thing that made me laugh at the start part is that they have a very talented voice singing for the mom.
It wasn't bad, but the
lyrics are shit.
And the music was... I don't know, the music in all of these, I would say it's like maybe 1 or 2 instruments per song, maybe 3. You could probably tell, of course, better than I could, but they were not quality songs.
I think they were synth, too.
Yeah.
It sounded kind of synthy. Oh my god. Like... So, if I remember right, there are only 3 songs in this.
Let's see. There's the mom song, the song with the skunk, and the boot, if I remember correctly.
Of the 3 songs, 2 of them, I will present a defense for the lyrics. There is no defense for the lyrics on this one.
Just her shit-talking the rest of her kids while talking about how much Poky is her favorite.
And the lyrics suck. They're not well written. The rhythm isn't great. It would make sense for the next 2 songs for there to not necessarily be a lot of rhyming, but there are some choices made with the rhyming schemes in the Poky Little Puppy song, or rather lack thereof. That it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, if you were a more clever person, I would let you get away with this. But you're not.
But Poky delights her. Poky is such a delight. Her little Poky puppy.
It doesn't, and the lyrics just don't. I don't like this.
Onward! Poky goes into the kitchen to scarf some grub, and the child explains that it's Christmas Eve, and
the fucking noises.
Oh my god, you guys. So every time the dogs are eating food, there's like no other sound effects, just horrible mouth noises. It was like nails inside of Kay's ear. It was like nails on a chalkboard inside of Kay's brain. All right, onward. Poky goes into the kitchen to scarf some grub, and the child explains that it's Christmas Eve, and they just now are getting decorations and a Christmas tree on Christmas
the fuck
Eve. Now, I often complain about people getting about Santa sticking his ass into the rest of our lives before December. I after Thanksgiving, if you want to start putting up Christmas stuff, okay, cool,
yeah, that's
go
fine.
for it. But it should not be before then.
No.
However, if you're gonna wait until Christmas Eve, you might as well not do it.
Yeah.
So,
like,
I mean, and I actually
most tree permits are like to go cut trees in a forest. You can't do it on Christmas.
God. Well, you totally put a flat tire on one of the jokes that I have coming up, but that's okay because it just demonstrates that you know things.
I only see the updates from DWR about going out and harvesting Christmas trees, and I'm like, oh, that's right. You can do that in this state.
I guess that's fair. So I'm still going to make the jokes that I wrote regarding that, and you can just poke fun at me.
Laws probably were different in the 90s regarding it.
Probably. So,
it was the wild fucking West.
So it's Christmas Eve, and they are just now getting decorations and a Christmas tree. I mean, why fucking bother at this point unless you're going to be those neighbors that leave your decorations up until February? Onward!
Poky only gets a couple of bites of food before being told to follow. Poky, being the good boy/girl, goes outdoors and falls in the snow. Poky looks up at their mom, because I don't know, is Poky a...
Poky's a boy.
Poky's a boy, okay. I wasn't sure, because it's probably voiced by a female voice actor.
It was boys. They had mixed group of kids.
For Poky?
Well, for all the puppies.
I just meant for Poky, though.
Poky, I think, was a boy. They do not have who voiced who other than Donald.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because the I think, you know what I bet it was? Nobody wanted to use that credit in their IMDb type of thing. They're like, nah, this is a paycheck. It's like Bill Murray with the Garfield movie. He's like, don't even put me in the credit.
Well, and even after, like, in the end credits, they don't have who voiced who. It is just the list of the voice actors, that's it.
See, that's what I mean. They didn't want to be attached to it at all.
Yeah. In the future, there will be an internet movie database.
What's the internet?
It's when machines take over and put chips in your brain. Okay, so Poky goes outside, falls in the snow, looks up at their mom and says,
You know, Mom, I think I like Christmas Eve.
Christmas Day is even better, replies Mother Dog. Go on now, but be careful. The woods can be dangerous. And Poky runs off to the end of the yard and through the open gate towards the family, who I guess are going to just fucking chop down a tree nearby. Different times, I guess. Don't bother with one of those special trees grown specifically for Christmas. Go find a tree that's minding its own business in nature and massacre that fucking spruce. Rolling back, Poky Little Puppy is still in the yard when our narrator, President Snow, graces us once again with his phoned-in performance. At the edge of the yard was a gate, and outside the gate was a meadow, and across the meadow was a woods that was crowded with pine trees. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I reserve the right to change my mind. Poky runs to catch up to his siblings, who are being pulled on a sled behind the family, on their way to commit some type of zoning violation by chopping down a tree near a housing development. Poky, having shit for brains, tumbles and gets his head covered in snow. Then he slips and falls in a deep hole that's just there for some reason. He cries for help. Help! Help! And a friendly neighborhood skunk answers his call, saying,
Why don't you just climb up, you dumb dog?
And Poky replies,
Fuck you, Smelly. It's too deep.
The skunk who kind of mumbles his name when we first hear it, I think it's like Harmon?
Yeah, and then I guess it turns out to be Herman.
Herman. See, this is what I mean. He mumbles his name the first time, and then it's never quite clear, so I wasn't sure if it was Harmon or what. So his name is kind of alphabet soup for the rest of my notes, just to make fun of that asshole who can't say Herman. The skunk, Harmon, some H name, climbs down and helps Poky escape by pushing his ass out. I guess skunks are good climbers? I don't know, because he scrambles down that hole and back up like it's nothing.
I mean, they are in the weasel family, so maybe.
Onward! The Hammeramomron skunk asks what the ever-loving fuck was Poky doing. Poky explains that it's Christmas Eve, and it's the day where you go out, and everyone is there, and there's snow, and Christmas Day is even better. That's what he says. Poky doesn't know how to explain Christmas Eve to the skunk, but he knows that Christmas Day is even better.
Yes.
Hamramramron gets bored and starts to walk away. Poky is like,
Yo, smelly ass, where are you going? I was explaining to you the intricate depth of this time-honored tradition.
And Hamramramron tells Poky to follow him. He has something to show him. Good message for kids. If you meet a stranger in the woods and they tell you to follow them, follow them. If they have something to show you. Hey, kid, want to see a dead body? Poky, having never been a 90s kid, even though this tale...
Poky, having never been a 90s kid, even though this takes place in 1992, but never mind that, was never taught stranger danger and runs off with his smelly new friend. The two laugh as they run through the snow. Hamronanom leads Poky to a frozen stream, and Poky is amazed at seeing their reflection in the frozen water. Harnomronom shows off his agility and jumps onto the frozen water, complete with sound effects right out of the $6 million man. Because he jumps and it goes like it fucking. The smelly pufftail slides on the ice, spinning around to face a confused Poky, who inquires how this strange stinky cat dog defied all laws of known physics by levitating on this reflective surface. Hamronram explains that it's easy, and Poky jumps, landing on the ice and sliding. The music picks up, and the two start to chug-chugga-lug-chugga-chug sing a chug-a-lug-chugga-lug-chugga-chugga-lug song about how they're having fun times sliding on the ice and how it's somehow delicious sliding on the ice and having a ball, having a party, having a chug-a-lug-chugga-lug-lug party. Chug-a-lug-lug-a-chug-chugga-lug. Those are lyrics from the second song, dear listeners. Chug-chugga-lug-chugga-lug.
So here's my defense.
Oh, this better be good.
And like I said, if I believed that the writers were clever, then I would give them this. However, this is not a defense that would hold up in court because the writers are not clever. So, have you ever listened to kids playing on a playground or whatever and they decide to just start singing? And it does not make any fucking sense. It is just whatever comes out of their mouth, they are just singing it.
This went in a completely different way. I thought you were going to say, do you ever hear... So to answer your question, no. I have not ever heard that. Which is strange because you know me, I'll break out into song randomly about whatever the fuck I'm doing and make up lyrics that make no sense and usually don't rhyme for more than the first two verses. Because rhyming's hard. I thought what you were going to say is, because this is what I would hear all the time. Kids play on a playground and then they start screaming like they're being murdered, even though they're playing, you know, but they scream like it sounds like there's someone over there viciously murdering these small children.
So the rare times when I would substitute for the kindergarten teachers, that would be a common occurrence, and it was just they would just start singing about whatever the fuck, and it wouldn't rhyme. It wouldn't have any rhyme or reason. It would have a lot of nonsense words, stuff like that. That's just a little kid thing.
I feel so called out right now. See, that's the last thread of my childlike innocence that I have held on to as my innocence has been unraveled by this
and I mean,
thing called life.
It is a normal human thing to do, but I wouldn't expect Poky's mother to be doing it. I would expect Poky and Hammer to do it. And especially like in the next song, because there are a couple of moments of that with the next song where Poky just sort of goes off a little bit. And
I would say out of all three songs, the last song makes the most sense.
The last song makes the most sense, but like this one, it's definitely like little kids singing on a playground with each other, and just like at one point it's, you know, I'm Poky, I'm and they then swap it like he's Poky, he's and so chug-chugga-lug-chugga-chugga-chugga, chug-chugga-lug-chugga-lug-chugga-chugga. Yeah, you're welcome, audience. Have that in your fucking head for the rest of the year.
It has been living rent-free inside both of our skulls, and it won't come out. I'm gonna drill a hole in my head and pour it out.
Trepanation.
Oh.
But yeah, that's sort of my defense for it, is that makes sense for these two to kind of do that.
That is a fair way of justifying the stupidity.
The creators of this are not clever enough to do this, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think that was the reasoning. I think it was just, kids won't give a shit. How much money am I getting from Random House or whatever the fuck for this?
You know what maybe happened is maybe to incorporate what you just said, maybe somebody heard their kid singing something like that, and they went, that sounds like something that would fit in this...
Yeah.
fit in this mortgage payment.
And the thing that kind of sparked that memory was in the latest Animaniacs. The one sequence that you and I were listening to, the kid talking in it. And it sounded a lot, I think it was Starbucks and Cindy. And it sounded like they just recorded their kid talking.
Just kind of talking nonsensically about what they were doing. And...
Yeah, and that sort of toddler to kindergarten age, like when you're just figuring out language and stuff, that's how you do it.
That's fair. That's not a bad perspective.
Yeah. Again, I don't think that they were clever enough to do that.
Kay is attempting to bring some logic and order to the chug-a-lug-chugga-lug-chugga chaos.
Yeah. The mom's song makes me think that they don't have that cleverness in them, but who knows?
It'll be fun when we get to the third song.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, President Snow returns to explain that in the woods, the searching for a tree continues. The older siblings tell the younger to hurry the fuck up because they're lagging behind. But the younger sibling was hunting for the perfect tree to murder. And the father sets out with high quality ripped from 90s VHS animation, chop down a tree with 3 swings of his mighty axe.
God.
Poky's
It's Rail Splitter.
No, he would do it in one.
Oh, yeah.
Poky's siblings all bark and yip in excitement at the merciless brutalizing of Mother Nature, and the barking of the siblings is heard by Poky, who explains to his new striped friend that he has to go, because his mother told him not to be late. Funny, Poky remembers that part, but seems to forget the don't wander off because the woods can be dangerous part.
Which
you might fall down into a hole, Poky.
Yeah, that's the most dangerous thing that happens while he's in the woods, because when she said that, I'm like, oh, he's going to run into a wolf, or it's going to be a bear, there's going to be some sort of actual conflict.
He had a conflict whole conflict. Haha, it's a plot hole.
I was just, get out of my head. I say as I high-five you.
Like chug-a-lug-lug-a-lug-chugga, I live there rent-free. Well, no, I pay rent. I would pay you with 1,000 kisses. Yes. Poky sets off, telling his new friend that he'll be back, and Herm tells Poky that he's easy to find, because he lives in a hollowed out log, right, over there. That shattered, broken, hollowed log that the camera pans over.
As the tree falls on it.
Yeah, they don't show that happen, but they explain it later that when the family cut down the tree and it fell over, it crushed Hermanurm's home.
Yep.
And seems like that's a plot point that's going to be remedied in the next check's time. 12 minutes of this show. We are halfway through. Onward!
Whoa.
Poky.
There.
Oh, hit Poky with a chair.
Oh, he's a puppy. He's blameless in this.
I'm not bad. I'm just animated that way.
Poky sets out to catch up with his pupper family, but happens upon a mystery boot with no leg or foot attached. But Poky barks at the boot anyways, and drags it, and barks some more, and then he crawls inside to make sure there's no missing foot or anything. After verifying there's no foot lodged in the bottom of the boot, Poky loses his fucking mind and jumps around the boot repeatedly until the narrator gets bored of Poky's shenanigans and moves the plot forward, stating that the mother and children decorated the tree and the puppies helped. The youngest child bitches that they never get to decorate the high branches. Gee, I wonder why, you little shit. Can you reach the high branches? No. Well, that's why you don't get to decorate them. Stay in your lane. Onward! Penny, the puppy, gets tangled in some popcorn on a string. You remember popcorn on a string for decoration? I sure don't, because popcorn doesn't make good decoration.
Oh, you don't remember popcorn on a string?
I will get to this.
Okay.
But the movie doesn't know that, but Penny does. And she eats the popcorn on a string to save the family the embarrassment of decorating their tree with this shitty thing. The youngest child complains that Penny is eating the decorations, and no one gives a shit, because they all know deep down inside that popcorn on a string does not belong on the tree. But it was probably made by the small child at school or some shit. And they didn't want to hurt the little peckers' feelings by telling them that their decorations sucked. Good job, Penny. You saved Christmas. So, to expand on that, I remember being a kid in arts and crafts, in school around that time, making decorations to hang on Christmas tree. And popcorn on a string was one of them. Teachers would bring in non-buttered popcorn, and you could string it. And I remember being a kid going, why the fuck would anybody want to do that? Give me some construction paper and I'll make some fucking stars. Like, I will... Give me a tennis ball and I'll wrap it with something to make an ornament. Popcorn on a string... No. No.
You just spray it with lacquer and then it's usable.
No offense to anybody who that's like a happy memory in your past of putting popcorn on a string and putting on a Christmas tree. But you're wrong. And it's okay. We all make mistakes. I make them all the time. But no, one mistake was I never made putting popcorn on a tree.
I think that there is a legitimate, traditional reason for it, but fuck if I remember what it is.
'Cause it was corn that they couldn't eat, and they couldn't plant it, so they decided to pop it, and then they were like, well, what do we do with these styrofoam peanuts? But we don't know what styrofoam is. I know, let's put some string through it, and then we'll wrap it around a spruce.
Out of all the Christmas tree decorations, it's the least offensive out of the ones that you shouldn't have around a dog. The worst is tinsel.
I guess,
tinsel can go fuck off.
I guess, to be fair, it's biodegradable.
To be fair.
I guess it's biodegradable. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to do it that's a lot of fun that my child brain didn't quite comprehend and my adult brain continues to not comprehend.
I'm sure that if you painted the popcorn and made it bright colored,
but it's still brittle,
and then you spray it with a lacquer. Well, your teacher would have to spray it with lacquer, but
it would still be brittle.
Not with the lacquer. It would be about as brittle as some of your other ornaments, because you have those really brittle glass ornaments that cause a lot of problems if they break.
Fair.
That
Touché,
belong
Kay.
on the top of the tree, not the bottom.
Where that little fucker can't reach.
Exactly.
Why don't I ever get to decorate the top branches? I want to decorate the top branches. I'm only 2 feet tall and I can't reach, but I want to do it.
That kid bothered me. Anyway. Meanwhile, Poky returns home from their adventure in the woods, dragging the footless boot with them. Not foot. Boot and foot are off by one letter that Warren can't read. Poky returns home from their adventure in the woods, dragging the footless boot with them.
And oh my god, what is that trail behind it? Is that blood? It sure as shit doesn't look like water or mud. It's too dark red to be either of those. Oh god. Oh god, Poky is dragging it into the kitchen.
Poky's horrible crime is stopped by the older child who is like,
Poky, did you bring in another bloody boot into the house? Look at the mess you made. You're a naughty puppy. Oh, yes, you are. Who's a naughty puppy bringing severed feet and bloody boots into the house? Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And the child yeets Poky outside and back into the snow and tells Poky to keep the ugly, dirty boot. Yeah, that dirt was red. It looks like that Poky's dragging a trail of blood through the house.
That could have been a VHS artifact error. I don't know.
Maybe.
I guess it has to be because nobody was like, Jesus Christ, Poky has a severed foot!
Like, there was no outrage other than you're making things dirty. But then we come to the third song. Poky then sings this sad song while draped over the boot, singing that nobody likes Poky, because if they did, they'd let Poky keep his bloody boot inside the house. And Poky sings about how he loves his boot, and continues with saying that no one likes him, no one loves him, because if they did, they'd let him keep his boot inside. So... and this is where this note comes in. On a side note, Kay lost their shit on this song because Kay compared this to when our Poky puppy, Latte, brought a mystery bone inside the house and was so sad that we wouldn't let her keep her bone inside the house. Her smelly, rotting bone that we're not quite sure where she got it from, but there was still flesh attached. We wouldn't let her keep it inside. And that's what made, because it's so funny because you take something away from Latte and she just gets this. Latte is the queen of sad face. Any little minor discomfort or inconvenience and she's just like, everything is terrible forever.
Nobody likes me. No, nobody wants me. If they did, they'd let me keep my bone inside.
Yeah, and the way Poky's thing, it's like,
nobody wants me, nobody loves me. If they did, they'd let me keep my boot inside.
And it has a fucking montage of him playing with his boot.
the boot that he's had for a grand total of like 10 minutes, but he's developed such a deep emotional bond to this red boot that he's remembering all the good times. He's remembering all the good boot times.
And I'm wondering, how the fuck did the boot get there? Because someone would have remembered if they lost a boot.
Right? In the middle of the woods, hop like... Okay.
And his mom's watching.
His mom is watching as Poky is lamenting the hardship of his life. That the humans won't let him
scene in the movie.
Keep this smelly old boot that he found in the house.
And if I thought that the writers were clever, I would have thought, oh, this is just the most dog thing ever. This is the most dog moment. Because I just imagine Latte, the times that she's brought a bone inside, that she knows the rules. Bones are outside.
So there's a great one that I want to talk about real quick. It was earlier this year, and it was late at night, and we were doing our, letting Latte out before bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I let Latte back in, and I see her come. Usually she stops and looks at me, and then I'm like, come on. She comes in. She ran past me as... like not running, but like a quick little dog trot, and I knew something was up, and I could see that she had something in her mouth because her cheek. She tried to stuff the whole bone in her mouth. She had a bulged cheek, and I could see a little bit of something protruding from her mouth. And she just runs right past me and goes downstairs, and I'm like, uh-oh, she's got something in her mouth. I better go and get it. And before I can even approach the stairs, I hear Kay go, "What do you have?" Ate had brought in a bone with still had pieces of flesh and cartilage on it, and she wanted to bring it inside so that she could chew on it before bed. And the look on her face when we took her bone away was just, nobody wants me, nobody loves me,
and after
if they did, they'd let me keep my bone inside.
And after the incident where she bit through one of the raw cow femurs, she hasn't been allowed to have bones, whereas her aunt and uncle dogs do get bones, and Latte finds that very unfair.
Well, I mean, it kind of is, but at the same time, it's like, Latte, you gotta not get tummy aches that make you have diarrhea and throw up, and that's why you can't have bones.
Yep.
Anyway,
she's getting the bones that she's supposed to be allowed to have, and she chews right through them.
She's got a mighty mouth.
With her crocodile jaws.
No kidding. Anyways, after the "Nobody Loves Me, Everybody Hates Me, I'm Gonna Die Outside Draped Over My Boot" song, President Snow returns to tell us, "That evening, Poky's mother told the pups about Christmas." And she explains to celebrate, we give each other presents. Doesn't explain what they're celebrating, but ushers the pups upstairs, or ushers the pups to bed, not explaining why they need to go to bed other than sleep is necessary.
Well, and like the scene looks like she's in the middle of explaining, so that when we hear her talking, it's just and so we give each other presents, and it's like, what was she saying? Do dogs have a concept of Jesus? Do dogs have a concept of Santa? I would ask Latte, but, she lives in an agnostic household, so...
All my gifts come from Mom and Dad.
And as the dogs are all snuggling in their dog bed, Poky explains that he made a friend today, and he falls asleep. The next morning, the pups are excited to see presents. A toy mouse, a ball, a biscuit, and a boot! Poky gets a boot! It's all shiny and clean, but it's a boot! President Snow explains that the puppies played with their toys until breakfast, then played with their toys outside. So, one, there are some serious issues in this universe for why Poky gets a shiny boot.
Right?
So either there's okay. See, I think I have it in my notes somewhere. So I guess I don't have it in my notes that I can find. Maybe I just thought about it and I was like, I will just talk about this. Mm-hmm. So Poky's mom, so the one older sibling tells Poky, no, you can't bring your smelly boot inside. Mm-hmm. Poky's mom sees Poky sad about not being able to bring the smelly boot inside. And then the next morning, there is a shiny, clean, new-looking boot inside. That's for Poky. That's Poky's Christmas present. So we have some possibilities. One, the dog mom somehow cleaned the boot and brought it inside. Two, the humans saw Poky playing with the boot and being sad and were like, oh, we should clean it and give it to him. Three, they went out and bought a single boot to give to Poky. Four, it fell off of Santa's fat foot when he was delivering presents, or Santa was like, Poky is a good little pupper. I'll give him one of my boots.
Except Santa's boots are black.
Oh, shit, they are. Never mind. It's not one of the fat man's boots. But
yeah, no, it makes no sense. Because if it's the mom, how
did the dog clean the boot and bring it back in?
If the humans gave him a boot, they are setting up this puppy for some serious issues later.
Chewing shoes and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, in no universe would I give a dog a shoe as a toy. In no universe. And, buying a single boot makes no fucking sense either.
How would you buy a single boot? Only thing I can think of is going to a thrift shop or thrift store, and
they still make you buy them in pairs.
But even then, that's the only thing is someone donated one boot, and they were like, well, maybe somebody else only has one boot and they don't mind mismatched boots and they'll buy this boot. You're trying to rationalize it. It takes you into a irrational realm.
It does, because there is no reason for that specific plot point that leads to the
shoehorned in moral
at the end of this. Shoehorned.
Boot-horned.
Boot-horned moral. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
This is another example of you and I thinking about something more than the people who created it.
Because even as a kid, this would have bothered me.
Oh yeah.
This would have bothered the fuck out of me.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, well, how the fuck did he get this boot? Because in my brain, I'm going, oh, the dogs have their own little world. Humans can't understand dogs. They don't know that Poky loves playing with a boot. Where the fuck did Poky get this boot? That would be my first question.
He dragged it from the woods. He pulled it off a dead body.
That's when it's like, time to do a search and rescue. Possible just search and recovery.
So, the dogs are playing with their presents until breakfast, and then they go outside and play with the toys outside. It starts to...
Wind-up mouse shouldn't be outside. That's electronic, or not electronics, it's a motor, it's a clockwork motor, it'll get fucked up by the snow. Bad.
Also, don't give something like that to a dog.
No!
Because there's tons of
that's
metallic
such a bad
pieces.
idea.
Yeah.
And
they're not a squeaker mouse. So it starts to snow as the puppies are playing, and one of the pups asks the mom if they can go play in the meadow. The mom says sure.
Oh, it's Poky that asks.
It was? Okay. I thought... Okay.
I think. Maybe.
No, it wasn't. Because Poky was the last one to leave.
That's right.
So it was one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Kay correcting me and being wrong.
Sorry.
Gosh.
Sorry. It just makes more sense for it to be Poky.
Because he wants to go find his friend.
Because he wants to go find Herman and be like, it's Christmas, Herman!
They want to go play in a meadow. The mom says sure, but don't go too far. Poky tells their mom that they were right, and Christmas is the fucking bomb diggityest. And he runs off to play. Mother Dog tells Poky not to be late for Christmas dinner, and Poky rushes off to play, but stops to look for his friend Hammurabi, and...
I was wondering if that would be one of them.
And Poky calls and calls for them, but the striped stink butt is nowhere to be found. The pups play for an undisclosed amount of time and then decide they need to go home so they're not late for Christmas dinner. Poky, always lagging behind, runs into Hammurabi, who is shivering and looks distressed. Poky asks what's wrong, and the little skunk butt leads Poky to what we already know happened. His hollowed log was destroyed by Poky's shitty family, and now, poor little Hermanomener is without a place to live. He explains that when Poky's shitty dad cut down the tree, it broke his house, and it was a nice house that kept him warm, and now he's sure to die. Doesn't say that. I feel bad for the skunk, though, because he's like, it was a good house.
Yeah.
And it was warm. And it was... I feel the worst for that little guy.
Yeah, this poor skunk, man.
Poky creeps home and is confronted by his mother, who is like, you promised you wouldn't be late, you little shit. And then sniffs Poky, going, ugh, what the fuck is that smell? And then she sniffs and sniffs and finds Hermanomener. Poky explains that their shitty family wrecked Hermanomener's home and asks if he can live with them now. The mother dog is like, ew, no, he's a gross skunk. And Poky is like, but he'll die. And the mother is like, okay, but just for tonight. Tomorrow he'll have to find somewhere else to live.
Actual line.
Yep. What makes me laugh about that is it's like, it'd be the equivalent of accidentally burning down someone's home and being like, I guess you can stay with me for tonight, but tomorrow you're on your own.
Yeah.
It's like, bitch. Literally, because she's a female dog.
Obviously not fixed.
That night, the dogs slept in the kitchen, and Poky slept outside in the doghouse with Hermanomener. Come the morning, Poky was missing, and the pups set out to find where Poky wandered off to. Turns out, Poky went to the woods with his friend, and he tells his family to follow. Poky leads them to his boot, which he has gifted to Hermanomener to be his new home. Hermanomener is so happy to have this this either new or cleaned up old boot, which was found out in the wilderness and probably is still nasty on the inside. And come to think of it, this is where the note is on me freaking out about the boot. Oh, past Warren trolling current Warren. I guess past Warren trolling future Warren, who is now current Warren. But that current Warren is always in the past Warren. Anyways, I don't know. So I'm gonna read this now. Come to think of it, there is no way the mother dog could explain to the family that the boot is important to Poky and ask them to clean it and gift it to her child. And there is no way the dog could clean the boot herself. So how the fuck did the boot get cleaned? I refuse to believe that the family went out and bought one boot to give to their dog as a gift. Okay. Anyways, Poky gifts the boot to the skunk, who is all excited and crawls inside, thanking Poky for his kind gift. And the camera pulls out, and President Snow delivers the holiday moral of the musical, that it's okay. I gotta do my Snow voice. That it's okay for people who are different to be friends. Thanks, Snow. Maybe carry that message with you and don't make children fight to the death in battle arenas. The end.
Holy shit.
And that's where it ends, on a shoehorned moral of giving gifts to strangers, and that wasn't even the thing. Giving
gifts to strangers and like being charitable wasn't the moral.
That wasn't the moral. They were just like, Poky just decided, oh well, since my shitty family made Herman homeless, I'll give him this boot, which is just barely big enough for him to fit in, and would not offer any amount of protection from, say, a wolf or anything. At least the hollowed out log was bigger and spacious, but now all I can think of is Herman sleeping in the boot, and like a wolf or a bear comes by, sniffs into it, just grabs the boot and carries it off to their nest. Like, sweet, this snack is portable.
It reminds me of the way that people tend to try to solve problems caused by systemic racism.
Giving black people boots?
No, just sort of like, oh, here's the bare minimum.
Oh, yeah. Sorry we burned down your house. Here's a new pair of shoes.
Sorry we fucked you over generationally. Here's a pair of shoes. Here's a boot.
Here's a boot. One boot. You get one. Everybody gets one boot. But the whole thing with Donald Sutherland just being like, and Poky learned that it's okay for people who are different to be friends. And it's just like, why was that ever in question? I mean, his mom sure is a bigot and is like, oh, dogs and skunks don't normally live together. Well, guess what, Mom? His house got destroyed by our shitty humans.
Also, doesn't apply in the same way as humans.
Doesn't apply in the same way as humans.
Dogs are somewhat predatory towards skunks. And they're different species in different genera in different families. Humans,
okay,
same species.
Okay, we're all God's children.
Same species. I am not a skunk.
Nope, you're not a skunk.
I am not a skunk.
But I am gonna stripe that ass. Psh.
Jesus Christ. Fuck. I hated that moral, and I think it would have made me angry as a child and been like, the fuck?
Yeah, me too, because, where I grew up, I like when I talked about, I didn't know very many black kids growing up, but I had Hispanic friends and stuff like that. And so the whole thing of, like, people who are different can be friends, I was like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why was that ever a question?
That's not the issue.
That's not the issue here. The issue is that the skunk doesn't have a home anymore, and now he's living in a boot. It's not exactly an upgrade from his previous living situation.
His previous living situation was perfect for him.
You know, it'd be better if they were like, he can stay in the doghouse.
Yeah.
Because at least...
Yeah. Then it's them acknowledging that they fucked over the skunk, and that, you know what? We fucked over your home, and now you don't have a place to stay safe from predators. We have the advantage of having a fence.
Pull yourself up by your tail, skunk. Make something of yourself. Quit pointing fingers at everyone else saying that it's their fault that you're homeless.
But it's their fault. It's directly their fault. he ain't gonna be pulling himself up by any bootstraps, because by the time that the next day, Poky's gonna go out, and it's like, where's the boot?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the
it was
boot,
carried
Herman?
off by a bear or a wolf or a cougar.
Yeah.
Or a fucking bobcat.
Yeah, the fuck.
Oh, so
my god, it was so bad.
So this show was bad. It was fun to make fun of. But yeah, and
pro tip to people trying to shoehorn a be good to other people.
Don't shoehorn it. Actually, take the time to write the moral into the story.
Yeah, like if you're trying to do a race relations moral in your story, have a black person or some other person of color on your staff, like depending on which group you're trying to, because everyone has their own issues regarding systemic racism. Like every group has their own issues that get faced through it. If you're trying to just have someone who is of the group that you're talking about on the writing staff, so that it doesn't come out like this, because this is fucking garbage. This is the most insulting. It's one of those things that I'm like, that right there is neoliberalism. It's the stuff that they talk about with regards to the if we just are nice about it, it'll be... No! We can't be nice about people being assholes to us. We can't be nice about people making it so that, it's harder for us to have the same opportunity. I'm mad.
Kay has both hands on their head and is very exasperated, y'all. So, Kay, let's divert our attention away from this musical. What can the nice people listening look forward to next week?
So from one thing with dubious choices to another, we're going to be covering some... So, okay, I'll back it up. Originally, I was going to have us do the Grinch musical, which looks like it's going to be a hot mess. But we don't have cable, and we're on the 2-week cycle before we can go up to Mama Kay's house to see it, because Mama Kay has DVR. So we're putting that on hold. But Netflix, which we do have, has a musical that I would have loved to have seen on Broadway. Dear God. Oh my God, I would have loved to have seen it. But they're doing the movie adaptation of it, and the cast list has me a little concerned. I don't trust James Corden after Cats.
Yeah, I mean...
He's also not gay. He's playing a gay guy.
Mm.
And you know my feelings on this. Mm-hmm. So... Yeah, I'm
Okay, nobody made a big deal about, what's his name? Neil Patrick Harris playing a poonhound in How I Met Your Mother, and he's a gay man. Last time he saw a vagina, he was coming out of it. The death gaze I'm getting from Kay is just fantastic.
Next week, y'all, it's gonna be the prom, which is... I wish it was the Broadway one, but it's not.
I am excited to see the show, though, because when we watched the Tonys last time,
yeah,
and they talked about the prom, I was like, cool. This looks like something that would be cool to see.
Yeah,
because isn't the basic premise that this one teen is gay and they want to be able to take their girlfriend to the prom?
Yeah,
and they're saying no, you can't have same-sex couples at the prom.
Yeah, and I want to say it's based on something that actually was a issue in Indiana.
Oh, I would absolutely believe that this is based on something that actually happened, because people suck.
Yeah, I remember something like this happening when I was in high school. Not at my school, but in Indiana.
Well, because people suck and they look for any arbitrary reason to other someone else.
Yeah, and I kind of got misty-eyed about it because it's a lesbian pair, and you don't see that portrayed in stuff. So I'm excited for that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, can Meryl Streep sing? I don't think she can sing very well. I think that the person that she's playing, the actress that was on Broadway, could probably sing it better. And I bet that everybody else who was on Broadway could probably do it better.
So I got in my head with my thought pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I was confusing Meryl Streep with Barbara Streisand in my head. And I fixed it because in my brain I was going, wait, is that the one I'm thinking of? Who is it that they made fun of in South Park? Mecha Streisand? Okay, Streisand, not Streep. Okay.
No, Meryl Streep's the one that just wins Oscars, like, all the time. But, yeah, Also, I hate anything to do with high school, because I hated high school, so...
Here,
like,
my love.
When we eventually do anything like Glee or High School Musical, I'm gonna be holding back bile the entire time. So...
People who look back on high school and go, that was one of the best times of my life, I just want to punch them in the throat, because I'm like...
Yeah.
High school, for me, was it was like prison. It was like, keep your head down, try not to draw attention to yourself, and just try to get out of it alive.
Yeah, that was when I had my first suicidal ideations, was high school. Well, proper one, because I had ideations before but didn't quite know that there was a term for it. This was when it was like getting pulled aside by a teacher because it's like,
are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay? Okay? Are you okay?
Are you okay, Kay?
Do we need to talk? Because my high school was chill, but it wasn't. Yeah,
Well, you had the whole other thing going on too, like struggling with being bi and non-binary and not realizing
either because there wasn't terminology.
The terminology wasn't quite as flushed out as it is now, as well as, living under the the ever-loving hand of theocracy kind of thing that is so okay with people who divert from gender norms. So I can understand why for you it was that way.
And having a crush on a Mormon girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was sort of the final bink of sanity for me there. So
See, when I had crushes on Mormon girls, it was always, well, you're not Mormon, so I can't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
This went from terrible animation, horrible, to high school sucked, and let's bring up some demons.
Suddenly I'm not excited for prom because I'm going, oh god, all of these experiences are coming back to me in a flood. I'm gonna drink.
You know what? After Poky Little Puppy, I say that you and I both deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess a thank you and a curse to Courtland from Private Island.
Yeah, we still love you.
Absolutely. We
love you.
Courtland is a wonderful person, and we absolutely love Courtland, but we both don't like you right now.
Right? Yeah.
But that's
right
okay, because we'll like you after we have, like, a glass of something.
Yeah, to forget. To forget what we saw.
At least to numb the pain.
So, yeah, next week, The Prom with James Corden. Yay?
Yay!
Still haven't forgiven him for cats.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for listening to this rambly wild episode.
We did it, y'all. We took a 25-minute show and were able to stretch it out into a full episode. Be so proud of us. We'll see how much of this ends up on the cutting room floor.
Ain't too proud. Oh, I wish we were doing that one.
If you would like to reach out to Kay, if you'd like to get in touch with Kay and I, you can do so at our home base, which is tonedeafmusical.com. There we have links to all of our social medias, our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks, as well as a link to the Cast Junkie Discord server. Please feel free to come in there and say hi. We have our own Not Safe for Work channel, and we are always happy to interact with people who just want to say hi or share pictures of their pets or this, that, or the other thing.
if you want to help out the show, please leave a review on your podcatcher of choice. Those really do help out with getting on the charts and stuff. Would love to be able to hit a chart again. It would be awesome. And if you want to go above and beyond, you can support our Patreon. Our Patreon producers, you can have your name read in the intermission of the show, and you can get some bonus episodes, such as the bonus episode talking about The Anonymous Lover, which is one of the best operas either of us has seen.
That was so good.
So if you want to hear us
so much
have
fun.
a delightful time but haven't seen Jingle Jangle yet, then join our Patreon, and you'll be able to listen to our review of The Anonymous Lover.
That was a good show.
If you also want to support us in another way, you can buy our merch. We've got shirts, stickers, pillows, a giant fucking tapestry. Y'all can't see it, but we have one behind us of the Holy Jello Cat.
If you want an acid trip without taking acid...
You can see the thing that Kay made totally sober. So, but anyway, thank you all again for listening. That'll be it for this week. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
And this has been Tone Deaf.
All right.
Yes. Get ready for Cyberpunk, 'cause it's